I got a few screws loose since the days of my youth. It's a Few Screws Loose podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of A Few Screws Loose, the podcast, where we have mental health discussions by mentally ill men of color. My name is Dan, and I am one of your hosts. You can keep up with me on Twitter and on IG at I am Dan on Drugs. You can also keep up with the show A Few Screws Loose on Twitter, IG, and on YouTube at Screws Loose Pod. Don't forget, give my homie and co-host P a follow on Twitter and IG at P from Charlotte. So this episode here is one of the one-off episodes that I mentioned in between our normal schedule, which is, again, the 1st and the 15th of each month. But with the holidays approaching, I've had a lot of shit on my mind lately, so figured why not sit down and record an episode. Thanksgiving's coming up next week, depending on when you listen, but it's next week from the time of recording. And Christmas right around the corner too, New Year's. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I've had a conversation with Becky recently, and it was a very detailed conversation. I don't want a fucking funeral. Now, I know that's kind of like, what the fuck you talking about? Thanksgiving, Christmas, holidays, funeral. So last episode, we kind of discussed facing our mortality and knowing that our time here has become more limited because of our age. The older we get, the less time we have left, which means it's kind of like an inventory thing. The more valuable my time becomes, the older I get, because I ain't got a lot of it. Now, I'm not saying I'm like 50, 60 years old, but still, we watched, like we said last episode, we watched a lot of the people we came up with passing away now, and just randomly. So in knowing that makes my time much more valuable to me. So the reason I don't want, I'm going to jump around this episode here too, but the reason I don't want a funeral or a memorial or anything, I don't want all these fake motherfuckers who I haven't talked to in years and years, or who I haven't seen, or who haven't reached out to me. I don't want them to show up and act like, oh man, that's my dog, that's my brother, man, that's little cousin right there, man. That was a good dude, man. I can't believe he gone. When I was here, you haven't even acknowledged my presence while I'm here. So don't show up trying to act like it's a huge surprise. And I see that when people pass away. And it's like, I know that this person that passed away didn't fuck with you. They didn't like you. Y'all didn't have any type of relationship or rapport or whatever it may be, but you're trying to make this about you now, and then you want to post the shit on social media, rest in peace Dan or whoever, and it's like, then you get all the pity likes, like, oh man, I'm so sorry you lost. Fuck out of here, man. When I go, no funeral, and I made that perfectly clear. I don't care. And there's going to be some family members, some traditional, especially traditional black family members who are probably going to be upset with Becky, being that you're not giving him a funeral. You're not giving him a proper. That's something that she's probably going to have to deal with. And that's if she passes before, if I pass away before her, which will probably most likely be the case. So I don't want any of that. I don't want anyone showing up. Like, I can count right now, probably on one hand, how many friends and family since I've moved from the DC area to New Orleans who have come to visit me. I'm gonna name them too. P's been down here. He ain't been down here in about 10 years or so, but P used to come down here regularly. My cousins, shout to my cousin Craig and Marcus. They've been down here to visit me. That's it. Oh, and shout to my homie that I just met up with, who I haven't seen in a couple of years. He's a truck driver. Shout to him too. I just saw him last weekend actually. And he's hit me a few times. I talked about it on the show, like, yo, man, I'm gonna be in Louisiana. And I'm just like, God, no, please don't let it be anywhere near New Orleans, because I don't want to have to go do anything outside of my routine. Well, I'm proud of myself. I did do something outside of my routine, and I went and I hooked up with him, and we just sat around, kicked it, talking about old times in front of a Home Depot, basically. So that was pretty cool. So that's it. P, Craig, Marcus, and that friend who I just referenced. Four people. I left the DC area in 2002. That's 17 years ago. So basically, in 17 years, four people have come to see me. Four people have, took the time out or whatever. So now I can count on hands and feet how many times I've left Louisiana to go visit other people, whether it be family members or friends or whatever else. I've gone back to the DC area. I've gone to Atlanta. I've gone to Charlotte. Shout to P again. I've gone up to Pennsylvania. I've gone all over the place to visit, people who are important enough for me to go visit. So, the same hasn't been reciprocated, but that's all good. Just don't expect to come see me off when I pass away. So if you can't come see me while I'm here, if you can't somehow carve out the time to come holler at me while I'm here, don't worry about it when I'm gone. And I look at stuff like inheritance and things like that. You know how families fight over shit when people pass. If you can't give it to me while I'm here, I ain't worried about it. I don't want it, because it ain't for me. So that again, why did holidays make me think about that? Family functions and stuff. Um, I haven't the last. I can't even remember the last time I've been to a legit family function. And when I say that, I mean there's damn near the whole family. Hey, let's say 75% plus of the family. I can't remember the last time. Well, on my mother's side, it would have had to been one of my cousin's weddings in probably 2010 or 11 maybe. On my father's side, man, well, I'd have to get back to y'all on that one. I don't know. But Thanksgiving, growing up, that was one of the holidays where I did spend, a lot of time with family, and I enjoyed it, man. I really enjoyed kicking it. So in addition to not wanting a funeral or a memorial service or anything like that, I mean, of course I can't control it, but that's my dying wish. I don't want to be buried. Don't fucking bury me. I do not want to be in a box in the ground. Cremate me. And this is me going on record and saying that shit. So if somebody buries me, I'm going to come back and I'm going to haunt the fuck out of you, your kids, your kids' kids, your kids' kids, 200 years from now. They going to be like, yo, that ghost in the house, why keep fucking with us? Because your ancestors fucking buried me. Just cremate me. After I pass away, notify everybody. Hey, Dan ain't here no more. He gone. Um, that's it, man. And unless there's some suspicious circumstances where an autopsy might be, beneficial, just throw me in the fucking incinerator, burn me. I don't give a fuck what you do with my ashes. Like, who cares? Really, it doesn't matter. So you may be wondering, why holidays and then death? Like, what does one have to do with the other? Well, you know, as I said, time's getting limited, and the last family. Thanksgiving, it's usually like a family holiday. I'm going to be spending it alone by myself by choice. So, one thing I told myself this year is I'm going to try to do some things that are outside of my normal. And some of the things so far were going on another podcast. Shout out to CJ uh over at the Awaken Soul podcast, also member of the Breaks Media family. I did that. That was a huge thing for me because I'm just not an outgoing networking, talk to people who I'm not quite as familiar with. That's not me, but I went out on the ledge. I did that, and like I said, I went to go meet my homeboy who was in town who I haven't seen in years. That's unlike me. But one of the other things I said I'm gonna do this year is I refuse. Now, hear me closely and clearly. I refuse to do anything that I know is going to make me even more unhappy than I already am. It's no secret that I'm unhappy. I'm unpleasant. I'm borderline miserable. And that's my brain. That's my brain. I'm not a happy person. I'm angry all the time. And I let that be known episode after episode after episode. So there's some compromises that I've made in the past that I regret. I regret making a compromise for somebody else's benefit. And I knew better because I'm selfish. I always put me first. Always, well, for the most part, always put me first. And the few times that I've made compromises to benefit somebody else, I have suffered tremendously. I'm no longer doing it. I'm done. So if I know off top something is going to make me unhappy, guess what? Dan's not doing it. I don't care, what the repercussions may be, what people may think, or how people may feel. I don't care how you feel. Right now, I've been spending the past 3 years trying to get my shit together, trying to get my brain back on track, trying to get my life back on track, trying to get how I feel back to something that's much more manageable than it is now. So I refuse to compromise. I will not. So Thanksgiving, I'll be spending Thanksgiving by myself, and I'm fine with that. I'm good. It's not like a old sad, woe is me. Oh man, I'm be by myself. No, this is by choice. Becky, she's going out of town. She's going to spend Thanksgiving with her family, and that's awesome because that's the type of family they are, I suppose. Holidays, whatever. That's cool. I'm not. No, no. I'm not going there. I'm not going to see my family either. Just, it's like everyone leave me the fuck alone. I refuse to go subject myself to, again, being unhappy, but then faking like I'm happy, like, oh, nice to see you. Oh, hey, how's everyone doing? I don't care how y'all doing. It's not nice to see you. And like I said a while ago, when's the last time y'all motherfuckers came to see me? So, um, I want to offer some tips, and I don't know, if they'll apply or not to whoever may be listening's situations. If you have a family member, this shit sounds like a damn intervention, or if you know somebody who is addicted to gambling. No, if you have a family member or a friend or someone close that doesn't want to participate in holiday gatherings, tip number one, leave them the fuck alone. Don't try to guilt them into coming. Now, that's been done to me before, and I've also seen that done to other people, where they're guilted into coming to somewhere they don't want to be. Don't guilt them. If they don't want to come, they don't want to come. And you'll especially see that in black families, sadly. There's always some kind of like underlying story or issue or whatever why so and so didn't show up. And oh, look, they just don't want to be there. Leave it alone. Um when someone wants to leave early, and this was me, I was the king of it's funny because of the SpongeBob meme. I I'm gonna go ahead and head out. That was me. Back when I did Thanksgiving and stuff like that. But don't try to guilt the person into staying. They don't want to be there. Or they did want to come and now they want to leave. Don't try to guilt them into staying because now you're making them unhappy. And don't be that person also that gets guilted into staying. When you ready to go, leave. Now, if you drove and you have somebody with you and they want to stay, hey, tell them to find their own way home. You know what I'm saying? If you care enough about them, tell them you'll come back and pick them up. But don't stay. Don't feel obligated to stay. Fuck that. Leave. And you don't owe anybody any explanations either. See, I used to lie to get out of shit. I used to tell all kinds of fucking stories. Oh yo, I told one of my homeboys, I was gonna come through his house and eat, or I said one of my other aunties, I told her I was gonna swing by her house and like I would just make up shit and I would do it to try not to offend whoever is hosting. Again, I'm using Thanksgiving here as an example. I would make up a reason that would not leave room for any questions or any guilt of people trying to guilt me to stay. Something that somebody would understand and be like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah. One of my favorites was I got to work tomorrow, man. Black Friday, back when, I was working retail many, many moons ago. Man, Black Friday tomorrow, dog. I gotta go to work at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So I used to always come up with these fucking excuses. Now, all right, y'all. Peace. I'm gone. Catch y'all later. That's it. So don't let people guilt you into feeling like you have to go or feeling like you have to stay once you get there. And that's also gonna kind of we're gonna take a quick turn here and then just wrap this short episode up. I see a lot of times people such as myself, I will tell you exactly what I want, and I try not to leave any room for interpretation because over the years, again, this is all from experience. This is my personal experience over the years. Leaving room for interpretation is also leaving room for disappointment. Be I try to be very, very clear. This is what I want. Not, no beating around the bush, whatever, whatever. That a lot of people still think that you're saying something that you're not saying. They're I don't know how they misunderstand it, but they misunderstand it. Here, I'll give you an example. I tell people all the time, I don't go anywhere. I don't want to be around people. I have an anxiety disorder and being around a lot of people can trigger panic attacks. I don't want to deal with it. That's not something that makes me comfortable. So I choose not to do it, right? You always have, and I've seen this a lot from like girlfriends growing up. Oh, we're going to get you out of that. No, you're not. Now, this was before, I understood my anxiety and understood myself completely, but still, no, you're not. Don't think you're going to change somebody. Don't try to change somebody, man. Like, take people at face value. What you see is what you get. Don't sit here and look at something, especially somebody like me, like I'm gonna be your fucking project or some shit. Like, oh, he has anxiety. He can't be around people. Ooh, I want to help fix him. No. Just no, no. Accept people for who the fuck they are. And like I said, a lot of people. Um, here's a quick story. Like I said, I'm dancing, jumping around here. Some of my cousins, shout out to Marcus and Craig, came to town, and it was my birthday weekend. So they wanted to go out to Bourbon Street, and back then I was still drinking. So we went down there and started drinking, and they wanted to go to a strip club. So I'm like, it was my 21st birthday actually. Um, 21st. So we get in the strip club. I'd been to one strip club prior. It's this spot called Choo Choo's out in like Waldorf, Maryland, and it was an 18 and up strip club, so it sucked. But strip clubs aren't my thing. So we get to the strip club, and I have a drink or two, and I'm just like, I didn't like the environment. I didn't like the vibe. And my one cousin, Marcus, kept trying to get strippers to give me lap dances. And again, hey, I'm Mr. Anxiety here. I'm like, I come off as shy and bashful, which maybe in a sense I am, but I'm also anxious as fuck, and I don't trust people. I don't want no half naked woman that was just sitting in this dude's lap and sitting in this dude's lap and rubbing her ass all sitting in my fucking lap. I'm sorry. I don't want that. So we got into this big dispute, disagreement about me turning down lap dances. The strippers was getting mad too. They was like, yo, you keep calling us over here to get this nigga a lap dance and he don't want one. Duh. Listen to the one that's telling you. Again, hey, I'm being clear. I do not want a lap dance. But nah, yo, here, tossing the money here. Give him, it's his birthday. It's his like, man, nah, man. I'm telling you, no. That is what I'm telling you. I don't want to be here any longer. I am ready to go. And strip clubs just never did anything for me anyway, because it's like I've seen naked women before that I can actually touch, that I can actually as Mike Tyson would say, fornicate with, without having to pay, and also without having to worry about security and all kinds of other shit. Like, nah, it does nothing for me. So here I am telling you very clearly, no, I do not want this. I do not like this. But at the same time, it's nah. Yeah, no, here, you gonna get this lap dance. So, yo, you gonna take this money up here and like basically trying to force me to do something that I didn't want to do. And let me tell you, even back then at 19, 20, 21 years old, you're not getting me to do anything that I don't want to do. I don't care. It's just not happening. So we kind of had a falling out that night, and that was it. I left them. I left them niggas down on Bourbon Street and went home, because it's like this is not. You're making my birthday unenjoyable. So again, don't try to change people. Accept people for who they are, and when they tell you what they want, they're telling you what they want. When they tell you who they are, as long as they're being honest, they're telling you who they are. So don't try to change them, man. Just accept them for who they are. If you can't accept who they are, if you can't handle who they are, then that's your problem, and maybe you should remove yourself from being around this person. Because obviously this person, something that they don't want bothers you, or whatever, man. So those are just some of my thoughts that I've been thinking about lately. Dying, strip clubs, naked bitches with a whole bunch of germs and shit on them. Normal Dan stuff, yo. So I just wanted to again give those tips though, man. If your family member, your cousin don't show up, man, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it, and don't be hitting them up. Yo, where you at? Where you at? Just leave it alone. They don't want to be there. Just like I want to be home alone by myself, and I'm gonna probably be doing yard work and shit. You know what? That makes me slightly less unhappy than my normal unhappy. So this is again 2019, man. It's almost over, but I've taken a lot of strides as far as trying new stuff and also trying to keep my peace as far as not intentionally making myself unhappier than I already am. I'm striving for happiness. I know that I'll probably never find it, but I can control certain things and I will never, you know, unintentionally make myself unhappy. It's just not going to happen. If you feel some kind of way about it, you're not for me then. Or vice versa, I'm not for you. So this has been another episode of A Few Screws Loose, the podcast. Again, you can keep up with me on Twitter and IG at I am Dan on Drugs. Keep up with the show on Twitter, IG, as well as YouTube at Screws Loose Pod. And my homie and co-host P should be back for our next official episode, which should be dropping December 1st. So until then, peace.